Hey, everyone. Welcome to Friday Night Live at 6:05. I'm Tori Humphreys, a professional life coach, here to help creatives move from abstract ideas to concrete realities. And today, I'm really excited because we're talking about don't despise small beginnings. As of February 14th, last week, Valentine's Day, that is when I started New Creation Coaching. So it has been a year. We just turned a year, and I'm really excited about it. As I've reflected on this past year, it's been filled with, of course, both progress and setbacks, which of course is normal. I would say that my biggest regret from 2023 for my business was just being driven by fear. If I boil everything down to just one major setback, it was fear. Fear that led me to take matters into my own hands instead of what God had for me. Fear that kept me from keeping commitments that I said I was going to do. And the origin of this fear has come from thoughts that tell me that I'm not good enough and I can't do it, or it's too difficult, or thinking that I know better than God does. And when I think about 2023, what it could have been like if I hadn't let that fear stop me, there were I believe that there could have been so many more opportunities that I took that I decided not to. Now, I'm not saying this to shame myself. However, I do know that there were things that I could have done that I did not. And I'm thankful. If you are, as a creative, I totally encourage you to just take some time to reflect over your past years and to really think and examine, what's happening for you. What are you believing and what's helpful? And even just boiling it down to one or two things, a highlight and a setback. So that you can choose what to focus on, because sometimes it can be really overwhelming to focus on too much all at once. I feared a lot too, because doing things by myself. As a business owner, there's a lot that I have to do on my own, especially just starting out. And even when I am surrounded by a bunch of other people, it's the commitment that I have to make to myself to actually push myself to do it, because I don't have somebody else doing that for me. But as I look back, I also think of the highlights of 2023, the things that I did to push myself and feel motivated to keep going. These moments have been life-giving for me. And I would say the major highlight for myself for this past year has been vulnerability. Putting myself out there even when I was afraid. And and just putting myself out there. And honestly, I had to work past feeling like a failure when I put myself out there. And I'll tell you that I felt more confident about myself and my business. And also, I'm just grateful for the struggles that I have gone through. So being vulnerable. And when I think back and reflect on the times I did push myself, I'm like, okay, this is a good reminder for myself for this year. This is what it felt like when I did push myself, when I did follow through with those commitments, when I did trust God with what he was doing with my business. And so remembering those things to be motivational for me for this year. So, and honestly, after starting off, even just looking back, it's only been a year, but when I think about starting and getting into a routine that feels good for me, even when I do, say, fall off my bike for a while, I know what it's like to ride, and I know the steps I need to get back into that routine. And it's not unfamiliar because I'm not starting completely over from scratch. So for you as a creative, if there's something that you're doing, you may fall off your bike. You may, in essence, not be where you want to be. But look at what you've done. Look at what you've created and what God is creating through you. And you're not starting over. You're absolutely not starting over. Even if it's day one is, thinking about what you want your creativity to look like. Okay, that's a step. And that's, a stepping stone that will keep growing. It doesn't mean that you start from the beginning every time, even if you change directions, because those are all skills and experiences that you're using to continue going on. So yeah, I would say I'm far from a cycling marathon or anything, but I can ride long enough to appreciate the brisk air and just see the beauty that's around me. So my goal right now is not to be an expert, because I'm not. And there's a beauty in that we don't talk a lot about. I think that in our culture, there's an expectation to always have the right answer, always know, and to be prepared to be the best, even when you're first starting off for something. I'm reading this book right now. It's called That Sounds Fun by Annie Downs. And that she talks exactly about that, the beauty of being an amateur and having fun and being willing to make mistakes and just go with the flow, because you don't know even, and also releasing yourself from researching so much or reading a lot or, prepping so much in order to be perfect or to be an expert when, you've only been doing this for so long. Relieve yourself of that burden, because you don't have to have it. And there might be pressures from other people, but at the end of the day, you can give what you offer, what you have. We can't give anything that we don't have. And so just giving yourself the freedom to enjoy, like, hey, I get the freedom to make mistakes on my journey. I have the freedom to learn as I'm going. And honestly, it should be wherever you're at, because there's not like this threshold where you know everything. But yeah, so I would encourage you to read that book. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's That Sounds Fun by Annie Downs. And yeah, so I'm not putting the pressure on myself to know everything when I don't, and just keep going and seeing what I'm learning and adapting to. And of course, I still have so much more to learn, but I'm also thankful for, how much I've learned up until this point as well. And the biggest thing that I'll say is having a lot of people around me to support me has been incredible. Even if they're not necessarily doing the same thing, there's people out there that identify with what you're going through. You are not alone. And as a creative, as a business owner, it can be lonely, and you may think that you're the only one going through something, but that's not true. It's just finding other people who are doing what you're doing or experiencing the same things, even if it's something different, and knowing that they're going through that as well too. So what is my goal for this next year? To be bold, to get out of my comfort zone by addressing the thoughts that I'm experiencing in my head that psych myself out of something that could be really beneficial for me. So one way I'm doing this is I want to do more events. And so this upcoming Monday, I'm having an event called Create Like the Greats, which will be really amazing. A Black History Month event focusing on 5 incredible creatives who have worked through struggles in order to be incredible and press through their fears and even just shortcomings to still be creative and to inspire other people. So the link is in the bio for that at New Creation Coaching LLC. So I encourage you to register for that. It's a free online event at 8 p.m. Central Time on Monday, February 26th. So here are my top takeaways for you. Number 1, enjoy being an amateur. And this also means having grace for yourself, right? Enjoy the ride. Try not to have too many expectations on yourself, because at the end of the day, We don't have to know everything. We don't have to be able to learn things super fast. And when we do, we rush ourselves, and a lot of times we take 2 steps back instead of 1 step forward. And examine, like if there's times where you feel like you should be at a set place, who's told you that you have to be at that place? And why? What does that mean for you? Okay, maybe we can set a more realistic goal that aligns with where you currently are rather than where, others expect you to be. Number 2, celebrate the small wins. I had clients this past year, and that's totally a win for me. I honestly didn't think that I would have any clients because I didn't think I would be good enough, but I had clients. And so on that vein, like think of ways in which you may have exceeded your expectations, typically they may be smaller wins, and that's why we don't recognize them, because we expect these wins to be like through the roof. Number 3, choose one small way you want to grow and go all in and not worry about the other stuff. So for me, it's being bold. How can I be bold in my business this year? How can I step out of my comfort zone and just go for it? So I'm excited for this year that's starting. I thank God, first and foremost, for all that he's done in this first year through my business. And I've shown a great deal of consistency and vulnerability thus far. And it's making way for what God is going to be able to do in my life for this next season. And I couldn't be more excited. And that's the same for you too. I would love to hear where you're at on your creative journey, what you're doing, and where you want to be. Personally, I am in no rush to get to the finish line, but to enjoy each step along the way. Even when there's constant pressures of people telling you to do this way, with social media, with your blog, with all these things, how you should do certain things. And you know what? I'm just going to take it 1 step at a time and be consistent and do it that way. So don't despise small beginnings. Maybe you aren't what you want to be, and that's completely real. It could be maybe thoughts of lack of progress that could keep you from moving forward. Think about that. In addition, don't neglect to look back at the progress that you've made and the things that have gone well. Thanks for watching Friday Night Live at 6:05. If you are ready to step into your dreams but need additional help, let's chat. Feel free to message me, or you can comment below, and we can just have a time to set up. I would love to hear about what dreams that you have that you would want to make a reality. Maybe it's rediscovering your worth or rebuilding your confidence. Let's talk about it. And as always, remember that your worth isn't measured by likes, comments, or Zelle payments. Your value is immeasurable regardless of what lies ahead of you. Thanks so much for watching. See you guys later. Bye.